We are. Oh God, Scott froze again.
Am I on stage? I don't know what to do.
I don't think we're actually live. Are we? I mean, we're live, but I don't know if we're like live on other things. Who cares? Ignore me. I'm not even here. I'll see you in Act 3.
Oh God, Scott, how's your summer?
You know, it's almost over, which I'm pretty happy about. It's been fine, but you know, I'm ready for like a nice hoodie, and I guess that's it. That's really what I'm looking forward to.
I am dying
excited.
for hoodie weather. I'm very much ready for that.
If you wake up at 5 a.m, that's hoodie weather, baby.
It's a fair point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's always an option. Friends, I gotta tell you, when I dug up the butt redux video, I thought I was painting you, but I cannot get the butthole song out of my head, and it's affecting my personal life and my professional life. And ironically, I don't know how to get it out.
God, I don't know how to respond to that. Actually,
So I've not had a chance to fart, let alone rewatch this.
They're the same thing. Don't worry.
Yeah, it's fair.
Yeah. In this version of I Love You But Redux, Christmas, whatever year that was, is the song "Slap That Ass, Motherfucker"?
Oh, it's in there.
Okay.
I remember that being in there.
It's one of them. Yes.
Okay. Do you recall the band or organization that we basically used their entire soundtrack? I remember the album cover, but
yeah,
I can never remember the name of the band for some reason.
It's like porno something.
Yeah.
The porn slappers, the porn. I was gonna say the new pornographers, but that's an actual.
No, that's a different thing. That's a different band altogether.
Those are rights we cannot afford.
I guess I can. You know what I could do? What a dumb person would do is I'm just gonna Google "slap that ass, motherfucker."
Motherfucker, slap that ass.
Pornland. The band's called Pornland.
Yes. Right. How could we possibly get that mixed up?
So look behind the scenes a little bit. Look behind the curtains. This is actually the first episode we're recording for the season, even though it will be
technically the third that we're releasing, but it is the first that we're recording.
So I look forward to having my voice back in our first episode, and then getting to episode 3, be like, oof.
Jack's rough. Yeah, Jack had a rough time with the love guru there.
Yeah. Well, that's but we're gonna have some running themes throughout this season, and unfortunately or fortunately, porn is one of them.
Yeah, in a way. Yeah. It's buckle up and get ready for that, kids.
And you've already done Caligula, so wow.
Yeah.
You think that would have been this season?
That was us dipping our toe in the old cum bowl.
Yeah, it was just God.
I'm so sorry.
I mean, you gotta wade in first.
Well, God. Welcome to DeRazzled, the podcast where we take award-winning worst films and attempt to fix them, except in second unit episodes. As such, I'm your second unit host, Joe Nealis. With me, as always, is also host Jack Culbertson and special guest, our director of photography, Scott McGrath.
Well, thank you, Mr. Rogan, for having me on the show. I'm a big fan.
All right, I quit already.
I didn't know we were going to record for 6 hours today, Joe. I can't do that.
I can't do that. Jesus Christ!
And then you have to tweet for the 6 hours after that too.
Yeah. Oh no! I can't deal with that many peripheral incels. I just.
What are we doing?
Great question. we didn't have like a real planned intro for the cold open, so
All
now I've like almost completely forgotten what the hell we're actually talking about.
I'm just trying to get us away from Joe Rogan.
It's good. So we are here to play a little bit of catch up with the news in a way. We are going to, eventually we're going to be sharing some of our own news and brainstorming some of our own news as we continue our planning and brainstorming for the Willem Dafoe Bad Art Short Film Festival. But before that, we need to check in with the SAG, AFTRA, and WGA strikes that are still in progress. Jack, Scott, how closely have you been following strike news?
Acronyms are hard.
Acronyms are hard.
Acronyms are hard. There are a lot of them.
There are a lot.
I
People are
mean,
mad.
this whole thing is so wide. So before we get into like to the film specific unions, I would like to talk about. Have you heard about the janitors going on strike across the nation?
I've heard
Nice.
a little bit about this, but I haven't seen any. I haven't actually read any details. Like,
Yeah.
please enlighten me.
Apparently, they're demanding sweeping reforms.
God, fuck damn it!
God damn it!
I walked right into it.
Got really excited for a second.
I just you've been waiting for weeks to do that, haven't you?
Listen, work wasn't super busy today, and I couldn't actually contribute to this podcast, so we do what we must.
You know, there's a supervisor at work that always hits us with puns like that. I'm gonna drop that on him before he has a chance tomorrow.
Just get it before he gets
Yep,
you.
I'm gonna nip it in the bud right there.
Preemptive strike that ass.
Oh God, there are so many industries on strike right now, though that legitimately felt feasible.
No, legitimately,
totally believe
very
it.
well could be
Yeah.
true.
By tomorrow, when you deliver that joke,
There'll be a
Yeah.
there'll be a custodial strike suddenly.
he'll be like, "Yeah, Joe, it's not funny."
Yeah, sweeping reforms. Yes, a lot of them. Like, hopefully, there's right across their website. Just,
Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure I'd get fired for even mentioning union in the building.
Ooh.
Yeah. Anyway, so it's been a while since these strikes have started. The Writers Guild's been on strike as of this recording 135 days,
Nice.
which is way longer than the last one, which capped out at 100 days even. And SAG-AFTRA has been at it for 62 days at this point. So we're just over 2 months of double strike.
Do you know what the record is?
It's like 154 for the writers, I think.
Okay.
So depending on
Yeah.
whether or not things are resolved by the time this episode comes out, they might be there.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Ooh. Yeah, good point.
Unrelated question: guillotine or guillotine?
I've always said guillotine.
Guillotine, yeah.
I said guillotine, but I do like the sound of guillotine. No reason I'm bringing that up. Just curious.
I mean, sometimes you have a word question and you just really
Mhm.
want to you
I
just
want
want
to
to
be
answer.
nice and sharp when I have to say guillotine,
Yeah.
as in bring in the guillotine.
I like to sound
Or-
bougie when I'm cutting off the bougie heads.
Yeah.
It's only fair, right?
Yeah, one in Rome.
So
Mm.
the last time we had talked about this was so long ago that I forget what we actually said at this point. So I'm going to update you guys a little bit on where the WGA is first, and then we'll get to SAG in a little bit. Spoilers: there's not a whole lot to talk about with SAG in terms of the negotiations just yet, but we'll get to what little there is there. So the Writers Guild has met with the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers, or the AMPTP, including a handful of the big CEOs. If I'm not mistaken, at the very least, Ted Sarandos from Netflix and David Zaslav from Warner Brothers Discovery were at these meetings. The grimace that crossed Jack's face just now at the hearing Zaslav's name is very appropriate.
His name gives me stink.
Oh,
Honestly,
your grimace froze on my screen, and that's all I needed. Just
that's
complete frowny cat face.
absolutely fantastic.
Grumpy cat. That's what I'm
So the AMPTP did finally come back with a counter offer to the WGA's demands, and it's literally the only proposal they've brought forth since this whole thing has started. It was not good enough. We'll get into some of the details of that, of why it wasn't good enough in just a second. That was on August 11th. They finally introduced that. August 15th, the WGA came back with a counter proposal to that, which the AMPTP has completely ignored, instead opting on August 22nd to publicly release the details of their proposal via a variety of media outlets to try and make it seem like the writers are unreasonable for taking this. But the writers had a thing or two to say about that. So some of the highlights from that offer: teams of 2 writers would qualify for pension and healthcare contributions as individuals, but teams of 3 or more would not. They were willing to allow some minimum terms for streaming and video on They're willing to allow some minimum terms for streaming video on demand writers, but pretty much only for those working in comedy variety. Like, if you're working on something that's not that, I guess, fuck you. They were willing to open up a second step of advancement for the first writer credited on an original screenplay, but pretty much nobody else. Yeah, it's a weird one, right?
Yeah.
They dismissed the idea of weekly pay, which, as a working human, feels like a completely insane thing.
Right.
At the very least, bi-weekly. Like, come on, guys. They are open to some minimum staff levels and job duration for TV writers, but with so many caveats, the specifics of which were unspecified, that the WGA describes the provision as toothless. There has been movement on the issue of AI. Apparently, the AMPTP is willing to listen to the writer's thoughts about AI and generative works, but they're completely unwilling to regulate the use of WGA members' work to train AIs in terms of their capability to generate new content. And last but not least, they are willing to allow 6 WGA staff to view very limited streaming viewership data over the next 3 years in order to facilitate an informed viewership-based residual proposal in the next contract negotiation.
Oh, I don't like that at all.
It's just kind of kicking the can down the road a little bit on a thing people have been crying out about for quite a while. Like,
we'll let you see the data now for next time.
We'll let a few of you see the data now, and then y'all can play a game of telephone about what it actually says.
The car that we've brought you in all together in a single car will suddenly blow up.
What has the brake line been cut? Has the brake line not been cut? I don't know.
We were going to show them. We didn't say how long they'd live with the information.
So that's what we're working with here in terms of what the writers are being offered by the studios and streamers. Naturally, they turned this down because it's just entirely too many cut corners and shortfalls of expectations. And you know what? That the fact that the writers turned that down, it really hurt Bob Iger's fifis.
Oh, did it?
It made him real sad. He said he felt personally insulted.
You get my lotion.
Just
go on. Go on.
Jack, you've already oh God, he's got the bowl out. Okay, well, it's too late now.
No. Gotta freshen up.
So I would like to take this opportunity to remind everyone that Bob Iger is a remnant of the absolute worst period of Michael Eisner's tenure as Disney's chairman and CEO, which was after the death of Frank Wells, and the messy departure of Jeffrey Katzenberg, which was marred by poor decision-making, massive creative missteps, and grossly extravagant executive pay and bonuses. While there have been a number of critical and financial successes from Disney during this time, a sizable portion of that stems from Iger's acquisition of major studios, Pixar, Marvel, Lucasfilm, 20th Century Fox, probably your mom's old home movies, that have turned Disney into a largely sequel and spin-off focused content mill, possibly verging on a monopoly. Resulting in crunch conditions for animators and visual effects artists, and obscene profits for Iger himself, especially in his second run taking over for Bob Chapek. So take that all with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
And in short, fuck Bob Iger and his fucking feelings. I hope his yacht has a run-in with some orcas.
Yas Queen.
Actually, it's interesting that that now one of the upshots of all of these labor movements is that now visual effects artists with Marvel and Disney are trying to unionize through IATSE.
It's
and in fact,
cool.
just earlier this week, Marvel's VFX artists voted unanimously to unionize. So
I'm not surprised.
Poor
guys.
Good Lord, the shit they put them through. Like, oh.
Yeah, imagine the comforts of having a job where you work at a desk all day. And now imagine it just being the worst possible thing you can do at a desk all day. And like if you were a no range chicken, but at a computer. Good Lord.
I'm just trying to
Good
imagine
on them.
I'm trying to imagine a chicken chained to a desk being yelled at to finish editing particular scenes from Thor Love and Thunder.
Pecking keyframes furiously.
And what's really, it must be really frustrating to hear the early feedback on the video effects.
Yeah.
Because it's not done. And sometimes it was super rushed. And then who gets blamed? The video effects department.
The effects department always gets blamed. Yeah. I mean, it just, it reeks of, it reeks all too often of, the after effects of Cats. I just keep thinking about James Corden and Rebel Wilson in their shitty Oscar attire.
Not Jeffrey Katzenberg.
Wait, what did they wear to the Oscars? What?
Oh, after Cats came out, James Corden and Rebel Wilson presented the Oscar for Best Visual Effects, and they wore just
That's already good.
really, really shitty cat suits and made jokes specifically at the visual effects artists' expense.
See our 2-part Cats episode.
Yeah, I think we talk a good bit about that in the Cats episode. That was
fuck them.
Fuck them. Yeah, just absolutely fucking tasteless. Anyway,
beautifully on brand for them.
Honestly, yeah. Let's see here, Scott. What are dear Gesundheit. Scott, dear friend and IATSE member, what are your thoughts on the state of things as they currently stand on the writer's strike in particular?
Yeah, so as an IATSE member, and I do have some bad news to share on that front, is I ran to be the vice president of our local chapter here of IATSE.
Shit.
But I didn't get elected. You know what they say. You union some, you lose some.
That was bad even for you.
I'm not.
Limboed my own bar. You union some, you lose some, Jack.
Mm-hmm. I'll be back in Act 3.
No, the actual news about my IATSE status is that I wasn't electric, but I got fired from it, and all of my coworkers were shocked. All right, can we focus here, friends?
I'm trying.
I was not ready for this shit.
I'm trying to get the sick out of you, Jack.
The amoxicillin does not make me immune to this.
No, if anything, you're taking more damage.
Yeah.
Shell shock. So yeah, I mean, across the board, people are pretty, depressed.
Yeah, understandable.
It's hard to feel pretty good about the future. Obviously, it impacts all of us, even though it is the WGA and the SAG on strike. Obviously, many productions are shut down, and while in the Northwest we don't have a ton of union features and shows these days, it does have this greater effect on the industry, where people that are used to working 3 months at a time on union shows are now trying to make ends meet in other ways. So they're on commercials and shorter term stuff that they wouldn't usually even be looking for. So yeah, across the board, everyone in the industry has really been feeling it this year. Everyone I've talked to has just kind of been trying to make it through and rethinking things. And with the way the negotiations are going, I don't think anyone is realistically expecting that the windfall is coming. It's right around the corner, and we'll be back up to speed in no time, and things will be great. So I would say, for the most part, people are hanging in there and showing solidarity, whether you're a writer, whether you're an actor, whether you're a crew below the line in any capacity. People are showing solidarity and showing up and trying to support each other in every way that they can, while also hoping that things come to fruition sooner than later, because it's rough out there.
Yeah, no, I think that makes a lot of sense. I know we're hoping for everyone's sake that things do reach a fair and equitable conclusion sooner rather than later. But until then, we'll keep on watching. In fact, even beyond the update that I gave above, there was another update from the WGA on September 8th, just not quite a week ago as of this recording. The WGA reinforced a point that I've seen brought up several times on Twitter. No, I will not call it X. That name is stupid. It's Twitter. The AMPTP is not a truly united front. Now, studios and streamers, you may imagine, have essentially different business models that are frequently at odds with each other. Notably, streamers don't give any kind of a shit about films being theatrically successful and are weirdly secretive about their show's viewership numbers, which we've seen that borne out repeatedly with films like Glass Onion that would have likely made a killing in theaters, only screened for like a week, if that. And we've been hearing a lot of talk lately from the stars of mega popular streaming series like Suits, Gilmore Girls, and Breaking Bad, claiming that they've received absolutely nothing or virtually nothing in terms of residuals from these streamers for all that additional viewership. And studios, notably, who have been attempting to start streaming platforms, have experienced giant revenue issues because they're no longer able to make money by leasing out the streaming rights for all of their IP, which is previously how streaming had been profitable for them before everyone decided they needed to have their own Netflix. So,
right.
Supposedly, in private discussions, there have been representatives from pretty much all of the studios and streamers intimating a willingness to work with the writers on various aspects of their demands, meaning that the way out of this strike might actually not be a blanket deal with the AMPTP, but individual deals with the specific studios and streamers, because there's not actually a requirement to make a deal through the AMPTP.
Right, and there's already been a couple studios that have signed deals so that they can go back to work. Right?
Yeah. Though there have been several small studios like A24 and some smaller productions.
Small.
Yeah. Well, if you think of A24, A24 is small compared to like Universal, right?
Sure, yes.
And everybody's small compared to Disney.
Right.
It's
Right.
but if you look at like even smaller than that, like when you start producing a film, it essentially becomes its own small company, right?
Yeah.
So like those productions, like a ton of those productions have signed interim agreements with SAG in particular, in order to continue their production or continue their the promotion of those films.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty great. Which I wanted to touch on that a little bit later, because we still have a little bit more with the WGA to talk about here. And one of the most important things with all of this I've found is keeping in mind that you really can only take the words that are coming from the WGA themselves at face value, because a lot of the platforms that are out there, like the Hollywood Reporter, Variety, Deadline, they will take details of what's being done in the negotiations and try to twist them, because they all have ties to the studios.
Yeah.
So, for example, according to the Hollywood Reporter, the WGA is going to be meeting with several showrunners tomorrow, the day after this recording, September 15th. And a lot of these publications are trying to present it in a way that suggests that is a sign of cracks forming in the WGA's solidarity. But according to the WGA, it's a meeting to serve as a status update for showrunners and to figure out other ways they could be helping to support the negotiation efforts. Because naturally, these showrunners want to get back to work. They want their writers back in the writers' room so these shows can continue to grow and develop. And we've notably we've been seeing showrunners on the picket lines since day one, and we continue to see them on picket lines throughout. So it's kind of doubtful that they would be trying to undermine the WGA by having this meeting in the first place, right?
Yeah, I can't imagine.
Let's see here.
Yeah, I think this is kind of a really, really important part we're talking about with, the WGA will come out with something, and then the AMPTP will come out with something, and you have to kind of read between the lines on what is real information, because like you're saying, all these media outlets are in the same household. They're drinking the same Kool-Aid. But what you're saying about AMTPP and all these individual companies and stuff like that, is really true. Like a lot of these companies in the normal world are competitors.
Yes.
And they have completely different business models and different financial situations and stuff like that. So the fact that they're all trying to bargain through the AMPTP as this unified front is, it's not very productive, because they're being represented by a greater whole that doesn't really represent all of their individual interests. And only the top dogs will set the hard line for what that means in AMPTP.
Yeah.
Whereas the AMPT, like you're saying, keeps, trying to divide the guilds and the locals apart. But, they are actually unified in their front, because they are all workers that want to return to work with fair conditions and have the same goals in mind. So it's interesting that WGA came out and not really hinted so much as just said, a lot of these companies have been talking to us and been like, we could do this. And we're going to get more into the A24 thing later, it sounds like, but yeah. So you have I don't know. It's like all the rivalry hockey teams are suddenly like, oh yeah, but Team USA in the Olympics, right? It's going to work great.
Yeah, it's like they wanted to organize Team USA, but somehow they got a bunch of Russian players into the lineup. It's really unclear how that worked.
Yeah, I understand this metaphor.
Or Team USA has a Russian coach in this case. Either way,
don't fucking worry about it, Jack.
Though something that has started to happen though, that a cause is doomed. I think whenever even the people who are who usually try to put a particular spin on things start to break rank. For example, when the WGA revealed that they had been negotiating a little bit behind the scenes and having conversations with individual executives and members of various studios and streamers, Deadline reported that the AMPTP had declared that narrative to be false and that the member companies are aligned, which on Twitter, Deadline senior editor Dominic Patton tweeted, when you have to insist you are united, even as you badmouth each other privately and look for someone to blame, you're really telling everyone we are in big trouble. So your house is not in order, AMPTP.
Yep.
I saw that happen while I was at work the other day and had to actually throw my hand over my mouth to keep from bursting into hysterical laughter. Not all is quite as rosy an outlook as that, though. Of course, we have had some developments that are, I would say, short-sighted and shitty. Most notably, in an unfortunate development, Drew Barrymore has opted to bring her news-style talk show back to production early, despite her writers being on strike. While most talk shows and news programs are under a different contract than the one currently being struck by the WGA, Barrymore's and similar talk shows like The Talk are the exception. Thus, by bringing the show back during the strike, Barrymore would necessarily be performing the work that would normally be performed by WGA writers, making her a scab and forcing any of her guests and crew and audience that she purportedly wants to help cross a picket to cross a picket line. And as has just been revealed, The Talk and a number of other shows are also following her lead and coming back early. Yeah, Barrymore essentially opened some floodgates here, and other shows are starting to break rank. Barrymore reportedly wants to make sure the rest of her staff can be paid during the strike, but if she really wants, she's a millionaire. So she is such an established entity in Hollywood at this point. Like, she could afford to pay them herself, much the way that Conan O'Brien did for his staff during the 07-08 strike. Yeah, he paid his staff throughout the entirety of the writer's strike.
Nice.
And while they stopped paying their staffs directly about a month, like two weeks to a month into the strike, the current crop of late night talk show hosts have started a podcast and are giving all of the ad revenue from that to their staffs.
Oh, nice.
What Kimmel, Colbert, Oliver, Myers, and Fallon are all doing a show called Strike Force 5. Like Jimmy Fallon, but
Right.
but all together they're doing a good for their staffs without crossing a fucking picket line.
Yeah.
So I'll take that. And like literally an hour after I finished typing the notes for this episode, Bill fucking Maher announced that Real Time is going to be coming back early as well. But without any writers or writing, he claims. So literally just the unscripted panel discussions, meaning Maher is expecting others to cross the picket line with him. Even though he won't be directly doing any writing himself, wink.
Yeah. He managed to go a step further than that too, where Drew Barrymore, when she came back, she was like, "I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm sorry. I have to contractually do this." Whereas Bill Maher was like, "Yeah, these fucking negotiations are kooky. They're asking for dumb shit." And
that interview with Jim Gaffigan that he did, it was absolutely ridiculous.
So
listen to him.
He still has that damn
Daily?
show on HBO. Yeah.
I know it's mind blowing that he would come out with a take like this. I mean, who could have foreseen this?
I know it's almost like he's someone who sucked this entire time. It's so strange.
He's
Who next?
granddad's shitposter.
What's that?
Oh, he's like a granddad's version of a shitposter.
Kinda. Yeah. I mean, he's got the anti-Semitism or not? No. No, he's got the Islamophobia down for it. Anyway, but
maybe both. Who knows?
I don't know if he's ever done anything specifically anti-Semitic, but I also wouldn't put it past him. Let's see here. Let's take a quick break for a commercial here before we continue. I think I could use some water. I think Jack could use a little time with his cum bowl. So we'll be back in just a moment.
I like to dip my fingers in.
All right. Roll ads. Joe, how many times have we tried to make the podcast?
I wish we still had that fucking ad.
Too dang many, Jack.
Which one is?
He's reciting our anchor ad from memory.
I'll grab you some water.
I will be right back as well.
Cool. Thank you.
Joe, you still on?
Yes.
How's the new house? Tell me about it.
House is okay. We ran into a bit of an issue there's a drain in the roof of the garage that has just like a vertical pipe going down into the ground, and because the guy who owned it before us did like nothing to take care of the place for aside from like basic upkeep. This pipe was way more clogged and backed up than we thought it was. So when we had some particularly nasty rainstorms a few weeks ago, it caused a bunch of excess water to flow into our into our garage, which caused a bunch of excess moisture to build up, which ruined the drywall we had been storing in there that we were going to use on the second floor of the house.
Oh,
yeah,
not drywall, wet wall.
Yeah. Now it's kind of mold wall now. Yeah, so we're gonna try and salvage some of it potentially to use as ceiling tiles in the basement.
Okay.
But we're no longer going to be drywalling the upstairs of the house ourselves. So we had somebody come and take a look at it, and we're just waiting on a quote now, so that somebody can just do that for us, and then we can finally get to installing floors up there.
Okay.
But aside from that, it's been good. It's nice to just like have our place. And we have not had to think about a landlord in months. It's great.
Yeah, it's your problem, but it's also your option to do something about it the way you want to, which is great.
Like we get to prioritize what gets handled when, how we want to handle it. We can shop around for people to do stuff. It's just like it's a unique pain in the ass, but it's better than like waiting on a landlord to drag their feet and do something.
Yep. Well, that's good. I'm glad you're having a nice adventure out of it.
Yeah.
Where is it again? Is it in Brighton Heights?
Greenfield, actually.
Okay. I just feel like everyone's fucking moving in Brighton Heights.
It really feels that way. Like Vince and Emily are looking to buy a place out this way, it sounds like. But I think they've put off the housing search for now, though. But yeah, it feels like every year more and more people move out this way. But Becca and I didn't want to do that, partially because she has a pretty shitty ex that lives out around here, and just partially because it's like, aside from like, we do have a handful of really good friends out here, it's just kind of remote from like everything else that we do. Like it would put me way further from work. It would put Becca super far from the improv theater. From all the other things that we do around town, all the other places we tend to go to, like just,
it is a jaunt.
A little bit.
Several rivers involved.
Yeah.
And I don't remember what you're doing for work now.
I am in shipping with a company on the south side that makes communication devices for people with various disabilities.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
All right. Who am I? I don't know.
Yeah, it's it's super easy work, but it's also like, it's nice to have like a basic structure to my weeks instead of working like 100 hours.
Yeah, that was pretty unsustainable.
Yeah, good Lord.
I'm glad you're out of that situation.
Me too, but I keep getting phone calls as though I'm still in it. Like it's like every couple of weeks I'll just get a call like, "Hi, you're Joe, right? You're the manager of Breakout Games in Pittsburgh." Like, nope, not for like a year and a half. Like, and they're always like, "Oh, okay, I'm sorry." And it's like, "Yes, please update your information. Don't call me again."
You'll always be the games master, Joe.
I mean, it was fun while it lasted.
It's like you couldn't escape the room.
I couldn't. No.
I'm ready for more acronyms.
You ready for more acronyms?
As ready as I can be, yes.
Hey, here's one for you. F you, Jack.
I know that
F
one.
you. That's a tough one. Wait, F you. That sounds
Funundies.
Funundies. Okay. This episode is brought to you by Funundies. We couldn't get a MeUndies sponsorship.
Oh.
You like MeUndies? You'll like
You're like fun
undies.
I'm more of a fan of Fun Yundies.
Yeah, I'd eat them.
They're
I'd eat
undies out of Funyuns.
Yeah.
Don't wash
I
them.
wouldn't feel good about
It would
myself.
not. Well,
but
see, I thought you were going to say they wouldn't feel good to wear because
no, they feel terrible to
It
wear.
would feel terrible to wear. It'd be fun to eat, and everybody would feel bad.
Right. Well, I wouldn't be eating them because I couldn't. I'm not that flexible. I mean, yeah, maybe like munch around the edges, but
You're talking about eating your own undies at
Right.
that point? Well, just break a piece off, man. You don't have to.
not the
Boring.
visual I had in my head.
No, I was with Jack on this one. I was trying to become a gymnast overnight.
Yeah.
Just look, I don't have that flexibility
I've
anymore.
removed the
my
ribs
bra-
so they
my-
could reach the Funyun.
my bra- That's a myth. That doesn't work.
No, I'm missing 3.
Others have failed so that we could fly, Jack.
Oh Christ. Okay.
Where can they send their fun undies related questions, Joe?
I think funundies at DeRazzled.com. Is
Great, yeah.
Is that a thing that exists? Probably not. Anyway, hey, welcome back, everybody. So we're continuing to discuss the ongoing WGA strike here. We just got done talking about how much Bill Maher sucks. And I lost my place. Hold on.
At least you had a place in life, Joe.
If only. Okay. Yeah. So we just got done talking about the WGA strike and why Bill Maher sucks.
Mhm.
So let's continue on and talk a little bit about SAG-AFTRA, because we have not really paid much attention to them, and neither has the AMPTP. There have been absolutely no resumed negotiations with SAG-AFTRA up to this point.
They need those.
They need those. They do need those. The tack they've taken throughout a lot of this is that they will only negotiate with one guild at a time. So like when they were negotiating with the Directors Guild, they weren't directing with either SAG or the WGA. When they were
Okay.
negotiating with SAG, they weren't, so on and so forth. So I don't know if that's still what's specifically happening, or if they're just like dicking around. Like,
Sure.
I'm not entirely sure, because they very well may be just dicking around because they're kind of pretending that it's not their turn to give an offer to the WGA, even though the WGA is like, hey, we gave you an offer on August 15th. You haven't said anything about it. Like, you want to cover that? You want to talk?
Sweet.
So you figure if they're not addressing that, they could probably do something with SAG. But I'm not David Zaslav, so I actually like my life a little bit.
Sure.
So in the midst of this lack of negotiations, plenty of actors have been making their frustrations with the AMPTP's proposals, especially the ones pertaining to likeness scanning and the various AI provisions known in a number of ways here. Specifically, we've seen an increasing number of A-listers appearing on the picket lines. I've seen a lot of coverage this week of specifically Margot Robbie and Oscar Isaac appearing on the picket lines, which great. You love to see it. I was particularly thrilled about the Margot Robbie one because standing right behind her was Samara Weaving. So she just had a lookalike ready to go.
Nice.
Just a free understudy at the strike. Beautiful. It's a special kind of solidarity. We've also seen some buck wild and absolutely entertaining fundraiser offerings. Have you heard about this?
I think I might have. Yeah.
Scott, are you familiar with these fundraisers that actors have been doing?
No, I don't think so. Tell me.
So this is beautiful. So there are auctions going on right now. The money from which will go to help the entertainment community. And there's some really fun items that you can bid on, such as having Natasha Lyonne help you solve the New York Times crossword. Having dinner with Bob Odenkirk and David Cross. Genuinely
really
something
good,
that I think would be
yeah.
amazing. Having Adam Scott walk your dog, only if you live in LA, though.
Right.
If you don't live in LA, though, you could have a watercolor portrait of your dog done by John Lithgow.
Okay.
which rules.
That's
I
kinda
had
cool,
no
actually,
idea.
yeah.
I had no idea he did watercolors.
Maybe he doesn't.
Maybe maybe this is his first foray. He just wants to give it a shot.
Yeah.
That's the
That's just
the Willem Dafoe spirit.
Yeah.
And possibly most frightening, Lena Dunham will
Oh,
paint a
no.
mural in your home.
Please don't.
I'd rather not.
I'll pay you to leave.
Becca said the same thing. Oh God. There were several other really good items up. I forget what else. Those are just the ones that
Those
really
are
stood
really
out
good
to me.
ones.
People have been making memes based off of
Yeah.
these as well to just add in all kinds of ridiculous nonsense. So if I hate to I would hate to tell anyone to look at Twitter, but like
Yeah.
there's a bunch of them there. They're going to be easy to find. And in one of the other ways that people have been voicing their frustrations, or person has been voicing his frustrations, we have Sean Penn being both correct and also deeply offensively off-putting.
Yeah, that's sounds about right.
Yeah. Did you guys happen to hear what Sean Penn had to say regarding the
Yeah.
use of AI?
It was a Sean
ahead.
Penn level of gross. Yep.
It really was. Jack, did you hear it?
No, go ahead.
No, okay,
I've
so-
braced myself.
So, so the in response to the idea of them using your AI likeness at will, he said, "Oh, you want to use my likeness? Great. Well then I want your daughters right now to use for a party later."
Yeah, no, that sounds all right.
Yeah,
That
I think I
sounds like-
paraphrased that a little bit, but
That's-
I couldn't stand to do the entire thing verbatim. It's just gross.
Yeah,
what an
thanks.
argument, Sean.
I know. It's just like of all the problems, of all the things that are wrong with what's being proposed by the WGA, you had to go that route.
I mean, still on brand.
It's extremely on brand, but that's maybe why we don't tend to hear that much from Sean
Right.
Penn these days.
Yeah.
Yeah, he gets put into PR jail a lot, I think.
A lot. Yeah.
Thrown in there by his agent, I assume.
That explains the fuming, screaming agent in the background of that interview. Oh, God. Actually, I have to we'll leave Sean Penn alone in
We're not gonna do any
his filthy little corner. over there.
Penitentiary puns. We're just gonna let that one slide.
Honestly, I might
Where
jump
was
off a bridge for the missed opportunity there. I can't
Oh.
live that down.
I hate you both.
I'm
No, I get it. I would too. I do.
I actually, yeah, no,
I do right
I'm speechless. I've just been shocked.
The penitentiary.
Yeah, no, I get
the
it.
PR pen-
I
All right, move on. Let's move on.
okay. Well, I'm going to move on by bringing it back to David Zaslav for a minute here.
Love it.
So it is very much worth noting that in the midst of these strikes and negotiations, Warner Brothers Discovery has reported anticipated single quarter losses between $300 and $500 million.
Mm-hmm.
Many people have pointed out that this is exponentially larger than the raises sought by the WGA, meaning it would have actually saved them money to agree to the guild's proposals. How angry do you think their shareholders are?
I don't understand how rich people think, so I guess they're probably real angry.
Oh boy,
We could have had billions, and now we have billions. Damn it.
Damn it! Shit! Think of all the billions we missed out on. How am I going to repair all these yachts these orcas have destroyed? I have to look up a statistic real quick.
100%. 100% of them are douches, Joe. That's the statistic.
Oh, okay, I'm done then.
Next.
A collection of orcas is a pod, or is that dolphins?
I want to say it is a pod.
I believe so, yeah.
So
Or
pod
an
of orcas?
orchestra.
Oh my god. He's still got it, folks.
All right, I'm back.
Okay, here we go. Sorry for the dead air there. Okay.
Dead air. Dead air. Dead air. Dead air. Dead air. Dead air. Dead air.
Okay. So it's always important to remember that while SAG-AFTRA is ultimately asking for more money than the WGA in terms of raises, it's very important to remember that SAG-AFTRA has roughly 5 times the membership of the WGA, and roughly 87% of SAG-AFTRA members earn less than $26,000 a year, which is not enough to qualify for health insurance. So
okay.
yeah, there's a big need for these raises, and clearly if they can stand to lose this much money, they could stand to be paying people more. Just absolutely absurd. Warner Brothers Discovery at least partially blames this shortfall on the fact that actors cannot currently promote films, which has caused the studio to delay several major releases like Dune Part 2.
Assholes.
Yeah. I mean, the movie's fucking done. Just come on. However, smaller studios like A24 and several productions not associated with the AMPTP have worked out interim agreements with SAG-AFTRA, which means they're able to agree to the proposals that they seek from the AMPTP.
Which is pretty cool.
It is pretty cool. Yeah, it's great to see. And of note, it gives us great moments like the fact that Michael Mann's Ferrari is able to do the festival circuit and have their actors there to promote it, which has led to Adam Driver pondering aloud in interviews why large studios aren't willing to do what these smaller studios and productions have been willing to do.
So cool.
Yeah, you'll love to see it, honestly.
This
In
was
my
such a cool
wildest-
piece of news. I loved it. Like at the time they were talking about like, certain productions are going to be given waivers during the strike. And that's like how they were presented, as like they're going to get hall passes basically.
Yeah.
And then it came out that it was like, no, A24 is just like, you want what? Okay.
Oh, we'll do that.
Yeah, I guess that's what we'll do then.
Yeah. One of my favorite little tidbits about all of this is one of the streaming services that got an interim agreement with SAG is Dropout, which is the streaming service run by what was the crew of College Humor.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
Okay.
because they had already been paying their players more than SAG minimum. So like they were well within compliance of the new SAG guidelines and proposals. So like they got clearance pretty quickly. So if you want to watch some like improvised D&D comment and content and like fun improv games, including Wayne Brady singing karaoke, an episode of Make Some Noise, quite enjoyable. Subscribe to Dropout. It's goddamn fun.
In my wildest dreams, my hope is that the studios remain as stubborn as they are currently being, and we get this flood of quote unquote independent films or non-traditional cinema.
Maybe like a bunch of small mid-budget dramas.
And just like give me a couple of years of that, give that flavor to the general population. And I just want to see what that looks like. Like I'm guilty of seeing the big blockbusters also.
Well, sure. Yeah. We've made no secret that we enjoy a Marvel film here and there. Yeah.
But I also watch all the other stuff.
Yeah.
Whereas I feel like the only way you'll get the general audience to watch some of the more indie stuff is either trick them into seeing it like they did with The Witch, where they're like, it's a big scary horror film.
Gotcha.
And then they're like, gotcha.
That movie rules though.
No, it's a great movie, but it's also not your traditional jump scare horror film.
No.
But if it's like, oh man, I'm a horror fan and the only horror movies that are out to watch are a bunch of A24. It's a bad example because horror fans will watch that shit anyway. But
that's true. But they also have Shudder to turn to.
Yes.
Yeah. Speaking of streaming services in general, though, something else that should probably be held against David Zaslav specifically. If you had to guess which streaming service had the highest cancellation rate since the strike started.
Well, I know which one I canceled.
Which one was that, Jack?
That would have been, and I'm not calling it by its new stupid name, HBO Max.
Yes, you are then part of the 26.9% of subscribers that canceled HBO Max.
I'm sorry, Harley Quinn.
Wow.
I admittedly do still have my Max
Yeah.
subscription, but at least half of that is because my mom uses it too, and I feel bad depriving her of something that she watches all the fucking time.
Yeah, my mom also used mine, but not often.
My mom uses mine way more than I do, actually. Similarly, Disney Plus has lost about 21.1% of theirs. And then from there's a pretty steep drop off. Like very few other streamers have lost more than like 12 or 13%. I think Netflix has only lost like 10%.
Really? I wonder why those two and not Netflix specifically.
It's weird. Even weirder to me is the fact that Apple TV has only lost like 4.9%.
Well, when 6 people are watching it.
Okay, I guess that's fair. Yeah.
I actually have no idea what is on Apple TV. So.
I actually love Succession.
Okay.
Or not Succession. No, that's HBO. No, Severance. I absolutely love Severance. That is worth checking out Apple TV, but don't do it right now. Wait for the strike to be over.
I ain't no scab.
Yeah.
I would call HBO whatever by its new real name, but like I can't even keep track of what the fuck it's called.
Larry.
And why the fuck it's called that now.
It's burned into my memory because it's really dumb because it's just Max, and it's the tagline for which is the place to watch HBO. It's the dumbest branding decision ever. Like,
was it? I am genuinely curious. Is it because of the merger?
I do think that is at least part of it, because now there's a ton of Discovery based content on there as opposed to just HBO branded stuff and Warner Brothers branded stuff. So it's like it's not just HBO, but like
they had the brand, they set up the brand, they did a good job launching the streaming service.
Yeah.
And then they're like, how do we make this dumb?
It's like how do we squander years of brand recognition? Yeah. Like it is like you have one of the most highly touted brands on the face of the planet in terms of entertainment, and you threw it away because David Zaslav wanted to make sure that like the shitty home renovation shows from Discovery are getting just as much attention. Ridiculous. Absolutely fucking ridiculous. That's about all that I have here in terms of the ongoing strikes, except SAG-AFTRA may have another strike front on their hands. Oh, nice. Have you guys heard about the things that have been going on in the video game industry?
No, but I'm excited.
So SAG-AFTRA also represents video game actors, voice actors, mocap actors. Okay. You know, if you any kind of acting role you could possibly have in a video game, you can qualify for SAG-AFTRA membership doing that thing. It's a completely different contract than what is used for films and television, but they are in the midst of contract negotiations currently, and as of September 5th, they are in process of a strike authorization vote.
That's pretty cool.
This vote's going to run through September 25th. Bargaining is set to resume on September 26th. And since this episode is going to come out after that point, I will edit in an update right here so that everyone listening knows how that went. And I'll include any updates about the other film-related strikes as well.
Yeah, that was a really cool update, Joe. Thank you for that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe it came to that.
It's amazing, right? I hope something really shocking happens so that pays off. So I guess final thoughts on the strikes before we move on to the next fun little tidbit of the show here.
I understood parts of that, and I'm still mad.
Good. Okay, so you understood well that.
Yeah.
Good. I'm proud of you.
I started the episode wanting to overthrow the rich, and I still want to do that. So that's where I am.
That's where you are.
Yeah.
Okay, Scott.
Yeah, same. Yeah, it's the sentiment from AMPTP is that like, we can outlast you. Basically, you need us more than we need you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which, is becoming increasingly apparent that that's not true. And we're seeing this, as we're seeing right now, this labor movement, everyone wanting to be part of unions, wanting to be part of labor organizations, wanting to have better conditions and living wages and all this kind of stuff, which is great. And I think that's why it's important to talk about these things, even though it's like just entertainment. It is the most visible, labor organization in the world, essentially. So, providing visibility to that has an effect on workers everywhere. And I think that's kind of beautiful. Like, I heard even like dentists are going on strike. So
Dentists, really?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Huh.
Brace yourselves.
God damn it. Fuck.
I do appreciate the build up.
That,
give you that.
No,
That's
that
really good build-up.
you earned that one.
Yeah.
You absolutely earned that one. Fucking hell.
You got me twice.
I mean, even like lazy as dentists can go on strike, right? So like anyone can. Like, apparently elephants are going on strike because they're fed up working for peanuts.
No, god damn it. Yeah, that's how I thought that one was going to go.
But seriously,
Jack's looking at me like, you could stop this anytime.
Yeah. Like,
you have the
can we
power
get
to
the
stop
commercial,
this. You know
please?
that, right? I am only a guest here.
We'll be right back.
Unfortunately.
Oh, God. Oh, it feels good to be back.
Oh, Jesus. Fuck. The first 2 seasons, I threatened to get us canceled. But
Now you mean it.
now I'm really going to lean into it. Because so, Scott, clearly a pun person. Our next episode we're filming on Tuesday, Ghostbusters 2016, with Matt Oberdowster.
Yep.
Also a pun person.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Is your mom a pun person? She better not be.
Not-
I'll kick your mom
not-
out of my house.
Not particularly. I think she like, she'll laugh at them. She's not really one for making them.
Okay, she enjoys a pun.
Yeah.
She's not a pun maker.
She's not a pun. She's not a punsmith.
Well, if I haven't canceled the show after Ghostbusters,
you scheduled hell for yourself on this one.
it's the fucking strep throat, man. It screwed
Yeah.
me.
Yeah. Have you guys heard, this isn't a setup, just speaking of celebrities and labor unions, etc. Just something that made me happy. Did you guys see like this unearthed video from like 2011 of Matt Damon at like a teacher's rally?
Yeah, I have.
Oh my God, it's beautiful. First of all, he's like completely bald for probably whatever role.
I think he was shooting Elysium at the time.
Okay.
How do I know that?
Huh?
I've never seen that movie. I don't know why I know
Nor have
that.
I.
So he's at this like teachers rally in DC in 2011.
Yeah, because his mom's a teacher.
His mom's a teacher, and Matt Damon like stands teachers. It's beautiful. But he's confronted by some horseshit, I don't know, fucking blog or something with a camera person and another person asking questions and talking about how like job insecurity should make teachers want to work harder, or whatever fucking bullshit. But the camera person like interjects and is like, yeah, like 10% of all teachers are bad. And
Matt Damon just looks at him and goes, well, what percentage of camera operators are bad? Like,
well, yeah, his mom's like, where'd you get that statistic? He's like, well, I don't know, just like, like some percentage of teachers should like find a different job. And Matt Damon's like, well, I don't know, maybe you're a shitty cameraman.
yeah.
And that's where the clip cuts off.
It's one of my favorite things Matt Damon's ever done.
Just Matt Damon, like Ben Affleck, just like chatting around, being like somewhat decent human beings, just like makes me happy.
Yeah.
I guess they offered to pay like Kimmel's staff during this strike.
Yeah, they did, which is
so fucking weird because he does stuff that I'm like, nice, that's so cool, and I'm like, I'm not going to read any deeper into your life.
Yeah, no, you're still Chad, but
yeah. It's always so cool to see them do like great shit like that too. Like on the like on what was it Air that came out earlier this year that they did like the Nike movie. But they specifically didn't take any writing credits on it, so that the person who wrote the spec script would get full credit.
Oh, no
Because
kidding.
they were like, hey, somebody
Awesome.
did this for us back in the day with like Good Will Hunting.
Oh, yeah.
So they wanted to pay that forward and be like, we want you to have this step up that we had too. So like, holy shit, like you don't see that kind of crap enough.
Yeah.
Well, they're also not like Nepo babies either. They
actually like worked their way into the industry, to my understanding.
Yeah. I'm going to take a quick piss and then come back, and it's my turn.
No,
it was your turn.
Hurt the two of you.
Beautiful. All right.
I'm very afraid. You're right in there. Yeah. What?
Those weren't good.
What was that?
Those sugar snap peas, but they were past due.
Oh no.
I was like, why is this sour?
Yeah, that's not the right flavor at all. Ping.
Wow.
Before we jump into your official section, I have a brief update to open up the third act with.
Great.
All right, Ian's ready.
I'm just
Probably not. Let's do it.
Good.
Yeah.
Welcome back, everybody. Before we get on to what Jack has promised us is going to be an awful idea that hurts us, I have a brief update to offer here. Apparently, literally as we started recording, it was announced that the WGA and AMPTP are in the process of scheduling a time to get back to the negotiating table. So there may be some form of movement. Like I said, at the end of Act 2, I will put in an update. Right. Yeah, like I said, at the end of Act 2, I will put in an update that will have all that information in it. Slightly less important is that they also made an announcement for Mortal Kombat 1 that one of Shang Tsung's fatalities is literally the hand motion thing that Uma Thurman uses at the end of Kill Bill to kill Bill, but it makes the person's chest just explode, and then demons fly out of it.
Is that a video game?
Yeah, it's the new Mortal Kombat.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah. Anyway, take it away, Jack.
Fantastic. So I guess I should say what exactly it is that I'm doing.
Yes.
So as we've told people over and over and over again, this season we're ending with a film festival. Specifically, here you go. You do it.
Yeah. The unofficial Willem Dafoe Bad Art Short Film Festival.
The DeRazzled presents.
Yes, DeRazzled presents the unofficial Willem Dafoe Bad Art Short Film Festival. You're right. I've been saying it wrong a few times.
I didn't know which one it was. Which of the Bad Art Film Festivals it was.
That's a fair point. I have, under several circumstances, forgot to mention that it is DeRazzled presents the Willem Dafoe Bad Art Short Film Festival.
Thank you.
No, shit. Sorry. The DeRazzled presents the unofficial Willem Dafoe Bad Art Short Film Festival. I got it that time. You're good.
Okay. All right. We're off to a good start. So while we are ineligible to win the grand prize
of
the gift certificate to Chi-Chi's,
it's a shame. I wanted to mount it on my wall, but unfortunately, it would not be fair for us to organize it and then rig the election to go in our favor.
Not that it would be out of brand for us to do so.
It'd be a little shitty.
Oh, maybe you, but
that's how things run, Joe.
Yeah, no film festival has ever done such a thing.
What?
That doesn't mean that we're not also going to enjoy the process of making bad art.
Oh yeah. My God.
So, as I don't know if I mentioned this on air or not, but my brain got cooked for a good 5 days. I had strep throat. I had a fever the whole time.
It's a bad time.
It was awful.
Yeah.
So that is why we're recording this episode first instead of
Love Guru. Yeah.
So what I'm going to pitch you is the afterbirth of whatever illness was in my body.
Oh no.
Now, initially, I wanted to just have a brainstorming tonight, and the reason I wanted to brainstorm was because I didn't have a story. But then yesterday, I put some pieces together, and then today it multiplied like bacteria, and I couldn't stop. Can't stop, won't stop. Have a pitch now.
Okay. So when you said festival brainstorming, I thought you meant planning the events, not the film that we're going to do.
That would be probably the more responsible thing to do.
That's not in the spirit of the thing.
That is no. No, this is the how are we, the Triforce of ramming speed, going to make a short film to submit to the festival that we're also curating.
So the thing that we're deliberating on and brainstorming is how to make bad art.
Yes. Or specifically how to
Got
make the bad art that Jack is about to pitch to us.
Right. I have a lot of ideas for bad stuff.
Okay.
But this is, and please go into this with an open mind.
Okay.
I haven't once.
And yet you're still here. It's your initial gut knee-jerk reaction is going to be, please don't make me do this. Did I scroll this on several menus at work?
Yes, you did.
I did.
Ooh, that's how I know this is a good idea.
It's
You son of a bitch, I'm in.
I want to share the last page with you, Scott. I don't know if you can see it, where the pen started to die. So I just started like,
It's just a ghost of a pitch.
yeah,
just scratching the cells
Yeah.
of the paper
I
as
had
hard as you
20
could.
minutes to get down my idea, and god damn it, I did.
Looks like you're about to be dragged off the electric chair. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, pretty much. So a couple things I do want to say up front is I wanted to play with, you know what? Fuck you. I'm just going to jump right in.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
He always wanted to open. Well, the thing he wanted to say was "fuck you." So.
Yeah, the thing I wanted to say is Fun Undies. Thank you, sponsor Fun Undies, for sponsoring. We open on the Pittsburgh skyline, and then immediately we see like an Ed Wood style UFO pie pan plate as like a UFO or something like that, something in the vein of like Ed Wood terrible B movie horror
Classic.
and then here's where I throw my first bad idea at you. Oh, also the pipe, whatever the UFO is, I want to have it lined with lights. There's like shitty string lights from Amazon. And then
like the fairy lights or
no. Like the LED.
Oh, like the LED strips.
Right.
Okay.
And then every time we cut back to it, it's a different effect. So like it's first like strobing, and then we have like fading and what I really want to do for this, one, I wanted to work with actors that are not actors. Two, I wanted to like the whole reason I want to do this project is to make people take the risk of being creative,
right?
To give them the excuse and to take away to demystify making art.
You're talking about the festival as a whole.
Correct.
Yes.
So what I want to do, well, see, the biggest problem with this film is, Scott, you live in Portland, Oregon, and we live in Pittsburgh.
Hey.
There's a bit of a distance there. Hey. And I was like, okay, so we're going to spend like a half an hour talking about how to make a short film, make that happen. And like the most obvious solution, the Oki's razor is for the Okie dokie razor is for one group of us to go to the other. So either Scott come here or we go to Portland.
Sure.
And I was like, that makes too much sense. Kind of, not a lot of sense, but like,
I have a feeling I see where this is going.
I'm like, but that's not a bad idea. We needed a bad idea. So I do want to remind you guys, you did shoot down one of my initial bad ideas. So I've already got one strike.
Wait, what?
I wanted to shoot. I wanted to shoot this in portrait.
I don't remember that suggestion.
Yeah, no, it was an exchange. You both immediately shot it down.
I don't remember shooting anything down.
Maybe it was a conversation I had in my head that the both of
it could also be.
Maybe just we're time efficient and you had the conversation for us.
Yeah, you're welcome.
You just assumed.
I really feel like I got a strong no.
I have to look at our chat log again.
Yeah. So, all right. Flying saucer, strip lights, cut to reactions of people seeing flying saucer. These are our idiot friends who want to be in a film but are incredibly unreliable. So we tell them, you have a single reaction. Look up and to the right and point.
Okay.
except for you, Steve, you're pointing to the left.
Okay.
And they're going to shoot this with their phones, and they're going to send it to us. And then Joe, that's you. You're going to do the ADR over all of their voices.
God damn. Okay.
Their voices, the sound effects, the music. It's all you, bud.
Oh no.
All right.
Okay.
Moving on. It ends with one of the people, it's you, but it's one of the people saying, "It's landing at the beach," the Pittsburgh beach, where we cut to a wide of somebody running along the beach, tripping mid-frame. Like, fuck, god damn it, like brushing the sand off his face.
Sure.
Somebody whispering into the ear of the camera operator, like, "Now it's behind you." We like whip around to do a 180 and see this horrifying monster made out of like carpet and like old coats, but also kind of fleshy looking, like a lot of liquid latex. And it's the
make a big wet puppet Verhoeven monster.
Kind of. It's called the Squonk Puss.
Yes. Oh my god.
And it's half. Might be giving it away, but it's half squonk, half pussycat. So
I thought you were gonna say octopus, but
no,
yeah.
Huh. And maybe a couple tentacles. But like definitely cat ears, cat tail. Sad
squonk face.
Yeah,
Scott, you're aware of what a squonk is?
Just from Googling it 5 seconds ago.
It's a cryptid that is sad all the time because it knows how ugly it is.
It knows how ugly it is, so
Yeah.
and he's sad about it.
Right.
Yeah, it's a Pennsylvanian cryptid.
Oh, reputed to live in the hemlock forest in northern PA.
Yeah.
He looks so sad.
He's so sad.
And that's when the
spirit animal
title blasts across the screen. Knifebreaker 3, Legend of Squonkpuss.
No.
I somehow didn't think it was going to be a knife breaker.
Well, that's because I said it was not going to be a knife breaker.
That's why. Yeah.
I specifically said that to myself and you. It would not be that.
And and strep throat made you a liar.
A lot of things made me a liar, but all right, I will continue with the story.
Please do.
So we cut to Knifebreaker in bed. It's night, and his alarm's going off, or so he thinks. What's actually happening is underneath his bed is Speedy, who's getting a phone call.
So we have to jam Vince under someone's bed.
Yeah.
Perfect.
If anyone's gonna fit underneath someone's bed,
it's Vince.
That is not a concern I have here.
Wow, it's actually not the worst. Cancel it.
Speedy answers the phone, pauses, and is like, "Oh, it's for you." Hands it to Knifebreaker. Cut to another one of our idiot friends as the president of the United States, who does one of those like lifting the frames as they're like finishing a line of coke.
Okay.
And is yelling at the president. Doesn't know who Knifebreaker is. He's just yelling because he needs this squonk puss taken care of. Because it's an election year or something, and if he doesn't take care, if the squonk puss is still pussing around Pittsburgh in 48 hours, they're going to nuke the city to eliminate the squonk puss, which then sets Knifebreaker and Speedy off on their way to try to figure out how to stop the squonk puss. And so here's a little bit of the format. We're cutting between idiot friends with cell phones and Knifebreaker content. And the way I see that is we're going to do the worst part of both ideas, which is having our idiot friends operate a phone and send it to us.
Yeah.
And then cramming a day of shooting Vince and question mark as knife pricker, theoretically with Scott in Pittsburgh somehow, some way, somewhere. Well, the where's Pittsburgh?
So you answered that part.
All right, so we already got that one. It's one question out of 3.
That's 1 out of 3. That's
Nailed
not
it.
bad. That's not bad at this stage.
And I have planned it out so that it is quick and easy. I'll get to it. So the first person they get to, they cut to, is scientist. Does the United States have like a best scientist boy? Does the what?
Jack, you know what country we live in.
I know, I know. Fuck.
Do we have a Dr. Manhattan? Is that what you're asking?
What?
Center
CDA, Center of Disease Control,
CDC.
Yeah.
Like whoever leads the CDC.
Yeah.
Well, I guess technically we had Dr. Fauci through the National Institutes of Health, but like
okay, so
everyone hated him. Well, idiots hated him.
All right, so Knifebreaker and Speedy go to the CDC fine print Pittsburgh to talk to scientists who also comes into frame having snorted a line of coke.
It's a lot of coke in this movie already.
It's he's like, let me show you some charts.
Oh god.
Because the scientist has analyzed the sadness in the squonk's tears, and he has 200 cc's of sadness in each tear.
He can weigh the sadness. You can measure the sadness.
Yeah, that's science, Joe. Now, when we're actually filming this, it's implied that Knifebreaker and Speedy are in the same location as scientist. They're not.
Mm-hmm.
Scientist is in generic classroom, wherever that actor is, and then we film Speedy and Knifebreaker exiting big building, kind of just like throwing the door aside as they like leave the meeting with the scientist to have a Knifebreaker and Speedy conversation. And what we start to learn is that each conversation that Knifebreaker has with a quote unquote expert is a metaphor for Speedy being sad. It's a monster that's a metaphor for Speedy being sad. Kind of. I'll get to it.
Okay.
So we cut to the next person that Knifebreaker and Speedy are like, that didn't help at all. We already know it's sad. We need to have a better expert. So they go to America's, the United States official Department of Fortune Telling. And the
IRS, right?
Yes. Brackets IRS. And we cut to fortune teller expecting them to also pop their head up, having done coke, but they don't. We give them a beat, and then they take a sip of tea, and they're like, wink.
At least he's aware of it,
right?
He knows where he is.
And the fortune teller tells us that Squonkpuss, what the future will be if Squonkpuss is left to their own devices, which is clearly like if Speedy travels down this road of depression, they will become a Squonkpuss.
Oh,
yeah. It's a metaphor.
Kind of.
Then Speedy and Knifebreaker again slam out of the doors of the building. It's the same building.
Yeah.
As before.
Of course it is.
Yeah.
Got it.
Because we're being efficient.
Yes, that's why.
That's when we get the dialogue. It's like, we only have 20 minutes before Pittsburgh is nuked to death. So they decide to divide and conquer. Speedy runs up. Well, Speedy decides to run off, leaving Knifebreaker to call the general to plead with the general to not nuke Pittsburgh. And gives us like impassioned, very Knifebreakian. That's a word I don't like having said.
Knifebreakian.
Yes.
Well, it's where we're at.
This very Knifebreakian monologue, and then we cut to the general on the other line. Give it a beat, and he just coughs a bag of coke into the screen as he yells the words, "Fire the missile!" Page 3.
He told me he has 4 pages of notes.
Well, sorry, page 4. My bad.
Oh,
we're on page 4.
Oh boy.
this is when Speedy returns with a Permane sandwich.
Oh,
I wanted some kind of Pittsburgh recognizable food.
sure. Why not?
Doesn't have to be a Permane sandwich, but something akin to that style. To give to the
pierogi sandwich.
It could be a pierogi.
A bowl of pierogies.
Yeah. If you ran with like a bowl of hot pierogies. I kind of like that more. Just kind of sloshing around. Didn't even drain them properly.
Just fill with water and like
microwave some Mrs. T's
and like a whole stick of butter.
Yeah. And Speedy's like, all right, here's what I need to do, my Knifebreaker. You failed with the general. Take these pierogies and give them to the Squonkpuss and pray that puts him in a better mood. I'm going to use your patented 6G ninja blender to try to bring down this nuclear missile that's flying towards Pittsburgh.
6G ninja blender?
Yeah. Well, 5G, we already have that. So
that's true.
It's like, what if it's 6G? And then I think I have a ninja blender somewhere. I don't know what I would want to blend in it while it's being used. It's a head device. It's a helmet.
Oh, good.
Naturally.
I don't know what would blend that would make a missile not hit Pittsburgh. But
magnet.
Anyway, it works, and it veers off to the left, destroying the city of Ohio.
The city of Ohio.
Which we're gonna have like a little like cardboard model, and we'll set off. We don't even have to really make it explode. We could just light a string of squibs and throw it.
Okay.
At the cardboard cutout, and then jump cut to it on fire.
I mean, yeah, that's an option.
Yeah.
Or
it doesn't have to be Ohio, but I was like,
I mean, it is to the left and it's right there.
I was like, well, it could go to the right and land in the ocean and it would be fine. But
that's further than Ohio, though.
Can't we just Christopher Nolan this and explode Ohio?
In
camera.
Now wait a minute, Scott's
always
best.
Here. It's a Nolan way.
DeRazzled presents the unofficial Willem Dafoe Bad Art Good Short Film Festival. Special guest, residents of Ohio.
Special guest, the Ohio refugees.
Thank
you for freeing us.
God.
I'm not going down that.
That's fair.
I know way too many people from Ohio.
I know.
Like half the people I know are from Ohio. That's when we cut to Knifebreaker, where Knifebreaker gives the usual kind of like morale informing story, which is like, what this really was all about was he tries to tell Speedy, he's like, what you really need to do. And Speedy's like, I know, I'll stop selling narcotics to government officials. And he's like, you need to take care of your mental health. And Speedy's like, you're right. I do. That was what I was going to say. You really just want your bed back, don't you? And he's like, yes, I do. I very much do. And that's when we see Squonkpuss kind of bebopping to a tune of his own mind.
That I'm making, I guess.
Yeah, you're gonna beatbox that.
No, I'm gonna beatbox that. Okay.
Yeah, so I hope you can do that. Sniper's like, what was in those pierogies? And Speed's like, the spirit of the people of Pittsburgh. And ketamine. Well, it wouldn't be ketamine because that would put him to sleep. But
yeah,
something akin to a party drug,
just like in a bunch of Molly.
Yeah, it's like pierogi. They were cheese pierogies, some butter, a lot of Molly.
Ooh, it's a good new pierogi flavor. It's Molly.
Anyway, Squonkpuss is not sad anymore.
No,
and
he's feeling the love now.
As credits are rolling, we have Squonkpuss on the right, kind of just like dancing in place in the streets. It might actually be funnier without music.
Maybe
just the sounds of like feet on pavement.
We just kind of Foley it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we save the music for the credits. And then
Well, those are the credits.
Oh, well. Yeah. All right.
So I'm sure you have some questions, some concerns.
It's not nearly as horrible an idea as I was worried it was going to be.
Scott?
I'm actually going to agree with Joe on this one. Having made the first Knife Breaker,
Yeah, thank you for that spit take.
it's like we just woke up the next day and filmed the sequel.
Yeah, basically.
Just roll out of bed like, all right, boys.
Although I do have a lore question. Is this a prequel?
This is Knifebreaker 3. In my mind, Knifebreaker, the Brickening is Knifebreaker 4.
Okay.
There is quite a bit of lore, and I'm more than happy to tell you all about it.
There's so much lore.
When I don't have to be awake at 5 a.m.
Yeah, that's fair.
We have knife breakers for days, my friend. I will say that this one I did come up with at work today.
I would say this is not one you had previously told me about. This is new.
The only thing that is a remnant from a previous idea was that I just wanted to squonk.
You wanted to squonk. Yeah.
That was it. It wasn't even a squonk puss. It was just a squonk.
Just regular squonk.
But I was like, it's a knife breaker movie, so it should be the combination of two things.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was going to have the squonkness monster,
which is also pretty good.
But then
that means we'd have to get someone in a squonk suit, like out on a lake or something.
Well, it's implied that the squonk puss came out of the rocket or the UFO that landed in the ocean.
True.
And I actually don't know where squonk puss came from. I know where squonk puss came from. What's the stupid fucking cake?
What?
The cookie puss.
Oh my god.
What?
Fucking Marvel cake.
Cookie puss?
Cookie puss. Oh, Scott, you've got it. You got to know what cookie puss is, man.
I mean, that's what you call it.
Why do I know what cookie puss is? Is this a Venture Brothers thing?
No, it's a real cake that exists.
Well, I know, but it didn't enter my brain until
I've just seen it.
But it's a New York thing, right? Like, I'm not from New York.
I forget if it's New York or I don't know exactly where they're headquartered or where they like do most of their operations, but they have just like a whole slew of like character. Excuse me.
I'm gonna go down a weird cookie puss rabbit hole later.
Yeah, they just have a whole slew of like character based cake things. Like Cookie Puss, I think, is supposed to be an alien or something. And
it's a space alien.
Yeah, and there's an Irish version of him that's Cookie Opus.
Oh, fuck.
I wasn't expecting that to hit Scott so hard.
Didn't think we'd ever have a podcast episode where Cookie Puss came up.
I'm honestly surprised we haven't yet.
Deep within the recesses of my subconscious, Cookie Puss has been waiting to appear as Squonk.
I think
Squonk Puss.
More people know Fudgy the Whale.
Fudgy the Whale.
They do Fudgy the Whale, which I think there was a Fudgy the Whale on Venture Brothers.
Maybe that's what it was.
That might be where you got it. And we probably watched like the Venture Brothers commentary.
Yeah,
and they may have brought it up.
This is all coming together now.
Yeah.
So I don't want to get too far into any kind of like deep production thoughts, but any questions or thoughts?
I'm all in.
I do want to save the city of Pittsburgh, and I do want to see a squonk puss roaming around the city. Those are definitely my main motivations. Apart from wanting to make bad art with y'all.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd say I'm in. So the like, what were the parts that you imagined being self-filmed on cell phones?
Well, I actually drew up a chart on page 1. I don't know if you can see this. The squares.
Uh-huh.
This is really good audio. The squares, that is with us, and then the
Jack is holding up
rectangle.
a square.
The
Jack is now
rectangle.
holding up a rectangle.
Those are cell phones.
Okay.
Because I wanted to keep it portrait, at least in my heart.
I see you already have some casting in mind.
I
for some people
do.
here.
Ignore all that. I changed it already.
Okay.
So it's
John
just
Malkovich.
I don't think we can afford him, Jack.
I think we can.
I don't know.
What is he doing? He's on strike.
What's he doing?
Oh, you have a point. You have a
My
point.
understanding is if he accepts pay, he's a scab.
I don't think that's how that works.
Yeah, no, sound
You
logic
may
to
have
me.
understood less from
That's
the
it.
first two parts than I thought.
That's it.
I don't understand acronyms. It's my kryptonite.
Oh God, this got appropriately stupid, and I'm excited about it.
I do want to answer Scott's question. So any of the stuff with the characters Knife Bricker and Speedy would be in Pittsburgh, shot directly by us, as well as the opening scene of the guy having a jog on the beach. That actually might be, depending on. There's some like dudes zipping up and down.
There's like somebody on a crotch
that a-
rocket out there, just
I
like
think it's a dirt
Flying
bike.
squonk puss?
Yeah.
oh, they fly now.
Don't need no rocket.
Just fueled by tears.
I want to see if I can rig a device that's just 2 tubes that are by the tear ducts and kind of like squeeze it like a Halloween.
No,
Just kinda like squirts
we
out
could
water.
Probably rig
I
that
think
up.
we could do it.
Yeah,
And if not, we have people that are smarter than us that can.
I bet Becca would be able to help figure out some of that stuff. She's a fabric arts nerd.
Oh, nice.
So like she might be able to help like figure out how that construction would work.
Wonderful.
I
Maybe.
could probably just make the actor watch Blonde right before
Yeah.
the shoot.
Bring out the laptop.
Just projectile tears. Wonderful. So
Do not
all
close
the,
your eyes.
all the stuff with Knife Bricker and theoretically the scene with the guy running on the beach. I didn't know how inconvenient it would be for you to have a wide of a guy running on a beach and then falling. If you were to shoot that in Portland or not the Portland, but like somewhere. Yeah.
I love the suggestion that the Pacific Beach is in
Right.
Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
I see.
That's the joke, Joe. There's no beaches in Pittsburgh.
I know.
It makes it find like the most quintessentially picturesque like beach in the Northwest.
I was thinking of the rock from the Goonies that you showed me, but and then all of the cutaways to other actors would be cell phones. Doesn't necessarily have to be. There's a couple of actors that I still do want it to be on a cell phone for lack of continuity's sake. But because we have like Emily's a name that I wrote on here, but I don't plan on going to like DC to film it. But I was like, hey Emily, set up your cell phone or whatever in a classroom and record these lines like a coked out scientist. I'm pretty sure Emily can handle it.
Yeah, I would believe that.
So does that make sense? Does that answer your question?
Yes. Thank you. Not actually like thank you, but like you answered my question.
Yes.
I not thank you, but I appreciate your words and time.
So if you've been duped into doing this stupid script, then I will do a draft of it. Maybe write out some logistical things and get it to Yins. I really want the only expense to be the cocaine and whatever it takes to get Scott physically here.
All right, so some flour and travel.
I didn't say flour.
Just
I didn't say
wink.
I do. I forget what is it baking soda? I don't know. We'll look it up.
Joe,
we'll look it up,
groceries are too expensive these days.
Cocaine it is.
Yeah, thank you. Someone's got the bottom dollar.
You're right.
line.
The prices on cocaine have plummeted, and groceries are through the roof. I'm sorry.
Also, the pierogies. We'll have to pay.
We have to pay for the pierogies. Yeah.
Kind of in tradition of Knife Breaker, only pay for the food items. Everything else we just beg, borrow, and steal.
Yes, exactly. Oh.
If only the BBT was still open, they could sponsor us with pierogies.
Oh my God, they would too.
Yeah,
I miss it.
We'd have to take like directly from their kitchen, piping hot to wherever we're filming.
Yep. They'll fall on the ground, but it doesn't matter. We're gonna eat them right off the concrete.
I know. Yeah.
I would right now. I swear.
I would
Jesus.
too. Honestly, yeah. I'd kill for a red plate. Jesus.
Well,
well. On that note, submissions are open for the DeRazzled Presents the unofficial Willem Dafoe Bad Art Short Film Festival. If you want to submit a film, you just got an idea of like the kind of thing that we're doing. I bet you could pull off something like that. Maybe something stupider. Who knows?
And ours is even a little on the ambitious side.
A little bit.
Because we've done stupid before.
We've done stupid before. Stupid is our wheelhouse, admittedly. But if you have your own stupid that you'd like to share, send it to DeRazzledPodcast@gmail.com. Put Willem Dafoe Bad Art in the subject line, and we'll be more than happy to program you into the festival. More details about when and where the festival will be happening will come out later. But for now, we're just focusing on getting submissions in. Even if you just want to give us a heads up, like, hey, we're planning on making something, let us know. That's great information, and we'd be happy to answer any questions you might have about how to make a stupid bad movie.
We're part of the reason I like this idea is that I want to be able to help people make the thing happen. So if you have a question and I'm able to answer it, I'm more than happy to do so.
Hell yeah.
Is there a deadline for submissions?
I was just going to get to that. Thank you. Yes, deadline for submissions, I believe we said was June 16th, 2024.
Sounds like a real day.
That's what I remember us saying the last time we talked about it, but it's been a while. So, so you got a few months to be able to do this. Again, any questions, send them our way, DeRazzledPodcast@gmail.com. We are always happy to engage and answer any questions you might have. Or if email's not your thing, you can always track us down on social media. We are on Twitter and Blue Sky at DeRazzledPod, Facebook at DeRazzled Podcast, and Instagram and TikTok at DeRazzled_podcast. Yep. If you enjoyed this, please rate and review the show everywhere you possibly can. We are on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Good Pods, rest in peace Stitcher, but Podchaser, wherever you listen to podcasts, we are there. Please rate and review the show so more people can find us and learn about this stupid fucking festival that we're putting together and come have fun with us.
And be sure to join us the next time
where we'll be sure
to razzle.
All right, good night, everybody.
Yeah, but for real, I have 2 minutes before I turn into a pumpkin.
2 minutes.
Yeah, we were cutting that close for sure.
I think I'm actually gonna like leave my shit up and just go and jump like a Looney Tune character out of my clothes and into bed. Scott, it's been a pleasure. I'm looking forward to doing some real stupid shit with you.
Always.
All right, bye.
All right, get some sleep.
Do you need anything from me before I?
I imagine you'll probably want to lock the door behind me, but aside from that,
yeah, I'm gonna start getting ready for bed though. What's it rolling?
We are live on the What's It still, but I'm gonna end that right now. Scott, good night. It was good to see you.
You as well. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course.
Talk to you soon.
Yep. Good night.
Good night.